In the pharma space, Lupin will be declaring its numbers. Of course, it's a large pharmaceutical company, and that's why numbers of Lupin are always important for the street. Now, when we talk about the numbers will strictly not be comparable YOY. That is because they have sold down their Japanese business, so there will be an impact of that as far as their sales is concerned. So the absolute number is expected to be close to 3,700 odd crores. If they do that number, it will be a good range that the street would eye out for. The interesting thing will be margins. Now, margins are expected, that's the EBITDA margins are expected at about 15 odd percent. Now, Lupin earlier used to do about 25-30% in terms of margins when they had those important drugs and the key drugs that they had in their portfolio. But in the last couple of years, they have taken a lot of cost-cutting initiatives. So let's wait and watch in terms of margin. Plus, some of the other pharmaceutical companies that have declared numbers have seen a significant expansion in the gross margin. So that also will be the case for Lupin, what their OPEX come down by, how their R&D spend this quarter, what will they essentially guide for R&D spend this year, all will be important, and that will have a straight impact as far as the margins of the company go. 15% is the EBITDA number that the street is anticipating. Now, when we talk about the sales numbers, so really what to watch out for. So there are two important businesses. One, of course, is what in the US, and second, of course, is what's happening in India. So let's start with what's happening in the US market. When we talk about US market, a 10% YOY decline is what the street is anticipating in terms of US sales decline. So that's the important number to watch out for. There could be a currency impact over there, but when I talk about the 10% decline number in the US market, it's basically mainly based on the dollar terms. Then when you talk about the India business, that's expected to decline between 5 to 8 odd percent. Why is that so? Lupin has a very, very interesting and a strong India business, but at the same time, this was the lockdown quarter. Prescription drug sales were as good as negligible in the month of April and probably towards mid of May as well. So that will have an impact as far as their India portfolio is concerned. But mind you, some of the companies that have declared numbers which have a good India portfolio have seen a growth, so that could well be the case with Lupin as well in this particular quarter. So the expectations have actually become slightly flattish versus the earlier number of 5 to 8% decline for their India business. Now the management will be talking in. Nilesh Gupta will be addressing investors, it will be addressing the media, once the results are out. When we talk about what to expect in terms of numbers, what commentary to watch out for. So what does the management guide for in terms of margins and the US sales business for this entire year? 800 million, 900 million, or maybe even $1 billion. What they guide for over the next couple of years in the US market would also be pretty interesting. Margins led by cost-cutting initiatives, so that is something that the street would eye out for. So that's another thing that one has to watch out for. Apart from that, they have some interesting launches, whether you talk about Albuterol, market share gains in the recent drugs that they have launched. All of this particularly will be quite interesting. Also, Lupin time and again talks about what's happening in US generic pricing. So what is the trend over there? Are they seeing a flattening out of that? Is something that the street would keenly await for.